Hi, this is Chantel Gray. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about the Hagia Sophia, or the Hagia Sophia as it's pronounced in Turkish. This is a pretty significant building for many reasons. It also represents that coming together of um, religions that have historical roots. Judeo-Christian Islam. They all come from the same beginnings and are in many ways offshoots of one another. This building was built as a Greek Orthodox basilica, and I believe we'll talk some more about basilicas in the section on the Middle Ages. But it is a church, essentially, that was built between 532 and 537 by Justinian I. And it at the time, until about 1626, when St. Peter's was reconstructed, it was the largest structure in the world. It also had the largest dome until the Renaissance. It was built on this dome construction that we talked about in the Roman era. It's made up of several domes, and it gives a great expanse to the interior, and we'll look at the interior here in just a moment. And the basilica itself was dedicated to Logos, the wisdom of God, and that, really brought a lot of those ideas home when it was converted. Let's take a look at a couple more images. So this is a little more of the information about the architecture. It truly is an architectural marvel, and also quite lovely. In 1453, the Ottoman Empire conquered Constantinople and converted this building into a mosque. And it's interesting because a lot of other buildings in the area were let go to ruins, but the Hagia Sophia was maintained, and they put additional money into it. They added these minarets at that time. The basilica had several images inside, these flat depictions of Christ and Mary and angels, etc. And with the iconoclast controversy, there was, some question as to whether or not it's okay to have icons of religious figures. And Justinian encouraged the flattening of the images as a way of showing them as not realistic. However, in Islam, it is forbidden to depict any human beings at all, and especially in a mosque. And so when they took over, they destroyed many of the images and plastered over the faces of the angels. However, because of respect for these images and the fact that Jesus and Mary were mentioned in the religious texts and were religious icons, they didn't destroy them. They covered them up because they could not be seen in the mosque, but they did not destroy them, which is fortunate for us because we still have them and they're nicely preserved, or at least many of them are. Here's another one of the mosaics from the period. Lots of gold inleaf, very intricate carvings in this building, with phenomenal mosaics and phenomenal images. Another picture of the interior. You can see that There's religious text around the perimeter. The height and expanse of these domes is phenomenal. And you can see where some of these images have been uncovered over the years. What happened is, so when the Ottomans conquered and converted this from a basilica to a mosque, that is when they added the minarets. The minarets are those towers on the outside that function kind of as a visual focal point for when people are called to prayer. They know which way to face toward the mosque. They also added the mihrab, which is a niche that sort of it orients the building toward, or the people toward Mecca. Normally, the mosque itself is oriented toward Mecca. However, when this was built, it was built as a basilica and a Christian piece of architecture. And so it was oriented toward Jerusalem. And Jerusalem and Mecca are a little bit different. They're both toward the east, but there's a slight difference. So you can see here where the center line of the dome comes down, and that this is off center. That is the mihrab. It's the niche that orients things, people toward Mecca, and it's off to the side just a little bit. And that, because they couldn't orient the whole building again, they made sure to orient that. Also at this time, a platform was added in this area, which is the minbar, which is where the imam stands during the prayer. And let's see here. I guess that is it. Let's go back here a little bit. So it really is a phenomenal piece of architecture, and it is kind of a nice reminder of the religions in this area. It remained a mosque, so it was a basilica from about 537 until 1453. Between 1453 and about 1934 is when it was converted into a museum. And so some of the holy relics were removed, and then it became a museum, and it is still standing today, and a lovely, lovely building. So there you go. Thank you. Have a good day.